The following is a conversation with Lex Kartynnik, ex-Google, ex-Microsoft, ex-Facebook, No. It is just a joke with all respect to Lex Friedman channel, to Tech Lead channel and other channels. This is just my first video on this English language channel about my path to the IT. So here I want to share my own experience, how I get to the IT. Hey guys, my name is Lex and welcome to my channel, IT Beard. It's simple, I'm IT professional and I have a beard, so IT Beard. I have a beard, I have a beard. So a lot of people think that only one way to get into IT is through special education or professional courses. When I started in 2011, there wasn't the case. It was a time when you could learn information from books, go through a ton of interviews and finally got a job in IT. But my story started even early when I was studying atomic physics at Belarusian State University. Yes, I am atomic physicist by diploma, but by my profession I am a programmer. And at the university we studied complex physics and programming was out of our question. Okay, just for me it was little bit Pascal for modulating some physical process and little bit Wolfram for mathematics, but as some of you know, it is not a real programming, not a real engineering. This was a time when the hype of IT, around of IT was not so huge, and I thought that after university I will be a physicist. Yep, expectedly. And honestly, I had no idea what programming was. Although when I was 14 years old, I started to create websites using HTML and CSS, and for a young guy it was really interesting to make something new with just a text editor. But that's not a real program, isn't it? In my first year at university, the IT company Agile was giving lectures on programming at my university, and that time I realized that being a physicist in Belarus was a very depressing, disrespectful and undesirable choice. By the way, we have really big problem in science in Belarus, and as you probably know, not only with science, dictator regime, protests, big problem with the quality of school education and many problems. So Agile, they were looking for promising students, and luckily I happened to be one of them. After a few lectures, they offered me an internship. After several lectures, they promote me to get part in their internship program as a .NET internee, and I accepted. Moreover, at that time, IT hype around the IT sphere already was presented in Belarus. And during my internship, how it's pronounced in internship, it is difficult to articulate in English. During my internship at Agile, they pushed me hard, loaded me with a ton of information and tried to make a software engineer out of me in a short time period. Honestly, I tried to do my best, but I couldn't meet their expectation. It was very hard to combine studying and at the university and full-time work in Agile company. And besides, I had no experience in programming and was learning everything from scratch. So, expectedly, after 4 months, they said me goodbye. At that point, I started to rent an apartment in Minsk. Originally, I'm from small village named Rakov, which is placed in the middle of nowhere, right in the center of Belarus. And when I start renting an apartment, I need to pay bills, and I didn't have much time, and I lose my first job. So what can I do? With only a 4 months internship in my resume, no strong programming knowledges, and no understanding how to make good quality application in .NET. I only learned how to run the simple website on .NET. So with this baggage of knowledge, I started applying everywhere, literally everywhere, for all of positions, starting from internship and ending for software engineer and senior software engineer. It was crazy time. After going through almost 60 interviews, a month later I got a job at PowerMe mobile company. You can realize 60 interviews in 1 month. There was a days when I had almost 3 interviews in 1 day. It was crazy. I'm literally say crazy time. And then when I get a job in PowerMe mobile company, I can say that my real journey in IT started. Several words about PowerMe Mobile. It was pretty small company, a product company that provides an opportunity to send SMS and MMS for huge telecom providers. And I worked there for 1.5 years, going from an intern to a strong and experienced junior software developer. Yeah, for those time, for me, it was like a main target. Stay really experienced junior software developer. For part of you, it can be a little bit like a funny, yeah, because nobody want to be a junior, but on those time it was my target, was my point, and I spent almost 1.5 year for be like an experienced junior software developer. The experience I gained there was invaluable, and I remember my interview at PowerMe Mobile. It was really interesting. It was really weird. It was very comfortable dialogue with the CEO of the company, and then there was an engineering part of interview with a single question: what does a .NET program looks like inside the computer? I was puzzled by this question. I was struggled. I was preparing for an algorithmic interview with a lot of theoretical questions, and this question was really unexpected. I answered briefly, it is a process. .NET program in computer, it is a process. And few hours later, they said me yes, and I got my job offer. As later, Slava, it is the name of person who was my team lead on PowerMe Mobile and person who interviewed me and asked this question. And as Slava told me then, the company was looking for a junior without a strong background to do light routine programming tasks, and I was a perfect candidate for this routine. Almost 2 years at PowerMe Mobile gave me the opportunity to clarify my knowledges and get real skills on the programming in the team. Then, after PowerMe Mobile, not after PowerMe Mobile, but during working in PowerMe Mobile, my acquaintances, not friends, but acquaintances suggested me work on their logistical business. They bought logistical business with a lot of papers, and they proposed me to automate this business by creating a CMS from the scratch. It was a challenge for me as for a young engineer. I had already grown out of my tasks in PowerMe Mobile. I decided to leave them, PowerMe Mobile, and do my acquaintances logistic company. It was really a huge challenge, but the more challenging the project was, the more I grow. And in 2 years alone, I was only one programmer on this company. I developed a huge logistics CMS based on .NET Stack technology. And also, during these 2 years, I realized that because I was only one programmer in this company, I didn't get the relevant team experience. I didn't get the relevant experience in the latest .NET technology stack. So I ended my job. I ended working on this CMS and started looking for a job at huge technology companies in Belarus from the outsource sphere. A few weeks later, I got an interview in a huge Belarusian outsourcing IT company called iTransition. At that time, I had almost 4 years of quality engineering experience, but I haven't experienced in English, and as you can see, I haven't yet. But all my previous work was on internal Belarusian projects and Belarusian teams, and it was pretty hard to learn English when you did not use it in your everyday work. It was a problem when you started working in outsource company without English, because a lot of projects in this company were from USA, were from European Union market. So we agreed that IT transition would take me as a junior developer with 4 years of experience, and when I improve my English skills, they would give me the middle .NET engineer position. It took me approximately 4 months to get my speaking English up to B1 or pre-intermediate level, and there was enough to start working on the project in the USA team as a middle .NET developer. By the way, it was really tough 4 months with full-time work on internal transition projects and daily English training in parallel. Unfortunately, as you can see, I haven't improved my English level since then, so it is pity. But now I'm recording this video for improving my English skills. For shit in the comments, don't hesitate, give me critical feedback. It is important for me. After 2 years in IT transition, I finished my project and decided to try myself in a different company and trying to working as senior software engineer. So I joined a company called SoftTeco, also Belarusian company. Started as senior engineer, and in 1 year or year later became a team lead. So my role was challenging and rewarding in many ways, and I learned a lot about managing teams and running projects. But after a while, I found that I was totally burned out of the management work. The constant pressure and stress associated with management began to wear me down, and I decided to step away from the management role and return back to what I love doing most, to coding. And also, I think that I work a lot in outsourced company, and it will be good to change company for product company, because product companies' processes are really different from outsourced processes. So I decided to find a new product company, and this led me to Billwirk startup. It is a German subscription management startup designed to automate the entire solution process. I joined them as a senior software engineer, and after 9 months, due to some slight issues and problems with my tasks and responsibilities and management, I felt the need to change again. And then I moved to EpicSite product company, also small company with roots in Lithuania. This is a cloud-based trading platform that helps business scale and growth. As a key developer, one of the microservice, I worked on proof of concept. And however, during the difficult time of the coronavirus pandemic and because of 2020 Belarus protests, the company faced a number of internal communication issues that affect me as well. Having completely my part of work, my microservice, in about 10 months, I felt it was time to break. And I decided to make a sabbatical to recover myself and plan my next steps in my life. But, as they said, when one door closed, other opens. And at the beginning of 2021, I received an interesting offer from EPAM company. EPAM, this is the world's leading provider of digital platform design and software development services. A really huge company for Belarus. They were embarking on a new project called Anywhere Club, a global community for developers. And what's interesting, they wanted me to join not as a developer, but as a community creator and content creator. Interesting twist, yep. It is not often for programmer in Belarus get work in DevRel sphere, and this was real DevRel, developer relations. At that time, this profession was really not presented in our country, and I think that even nowadays it is small amount of DevRel specialists in Belarus. So I agreed to join the Anywhere Club project as an independent consultant on community creation and content creation for developers. You may wonder why I was offering to work on community and IT content if all of my experience was related to development, to software development. The answer brings us to another part of my journey, my entry into the world of IT blogging. While I worked on soft tech company, I accidentally took part in a course of self-presentation and public IT speaking. The company started to train its employees in public speaking at conference, and I decided to take part in this program. After a few months of training, I had a lot of theoretical public speaking experience, but I didn't feel like a strong programmer, strong developer, so I was pretty afraid to be a speaker, public speaker at real conferences. On the other hand, I was somewhat familiar, a little bit familiar with content creation on YouTube because I had participated in a music video shooting several times as junior content maker, just for fun, just for a hobby. And then an idea popped into my head. If I am afraid to be a public speaker on real conference, I could talk to camera one-to-one and upload my video to YouTube. No audience, no real audience, just me and camera. Easy way. And that is how my blogging began. I started creating simple video content for my interns about how to work in the IT team, about processes, Agile, Scrum, Kanban, about GitHub, about how to effectively searching for a job, for an IT job. So a lot of questions around programming that not so clear for junior specialists. About all of this topic, I started shooting a video on my fresh new YouTube channel named IT Boroda. It is Russian pronunciation. In English, it will be IT Beard, expectedly. 1 year later, I had my first 10,000 subscribers. It was really fast growing because it was channel in really small sphere, IT YouTube on Russian language. It was 2018 year, so there was no any IT content on Russian language, I mean professional content on YouTube. So my channel started grows up pretty fast. Then I started interviewing programmers and IT professionals about their professions and about technology stacks and about programming language and other stuff related to programming and IT. Over the next 3 years, my channel grew to one of the largest Russian language channel about IT. For example, now I have a 3-hour interview about C++, which 1 million views, or 70,000 views on video about how to become a programmer. So it is really huge numbers for Russian language IT content, and that was my channel. That was a really big channel. I was almost like Lex Friedman, but in the Russian IT community. My channel grew to 300,000 subscribers, and I started making good money, creation content, good monetization. All of this stuff was well until 2020. And that is another part of my story, how my stupid governments banned me and my people during the protest in Belarus in 2020, and how I got to Poland via Ukraine and the Russian-Ukraine invasion in 2022. So we'll move next to my darkest part of my history. In August 2020, as you probably know, Belarus had its biggest protests against our self-nominated president. He reached the voting results, he faked up these results, and almost 500,000 Belarusians started protests against him. 500,000, it is a lot for Belarus because we have only 8 million people at all, and as you can guess, Me and my wife were one of those 500,000 people. And almost all of the people who were afraid go to the street, go to the explicit protests, they also was against the self-elected president, because we had a lot of polls where almost 90% of Belarusian citizens were against this president. But this president decided to stop the protest by using military forces and the police. It is interesting fact, in the Belarus we have one police officer per 100 people. It is really large proportion, maybe largest proportion in the world. So in 6 months, maybe even less, this brainless president has totally stopped the protest and ruined the lives of thousands of Belarusian citizens. And as you can imagine, my wife and I are one of them. Yep. At the end of 2021, we left Belarus because the fake government wouldn't give us the right to live free. They were looking for me at my parents' house. They wanted to put me in the jail just because I and my friends went out in 2020 and asked for freedom. I hope you don't share this experience. Yep. We left the country in a hurry, without papers, without any belongings, living almost all life there. We moved to Ukraine, and we moved to Ukraine because it is a country with a pretty similar language, Ukrainian language, pretty similar with Belarusian language. They have pretty similar mentality, and with many of our friends who had moved there previously. So a lot of our friends already was in Ukraine after the protest in Belarus. It is a beautiful country, and we decided to put down roots there, right in Kyiv, in the center city of this country. But as you guessed, 4 months later, our life changed again by 360 degrees after the Russia started a full-scale war against Ukraine. We met the war in Kyiv, and it took us almost a week for get out of there when the war started. It's a terrible experience when you try to leave a country that is at war, and that war started because of fake government, among other things. Yes, the official, self-voted government of Belarus was and still on the side of Russia. And from this point of view, it was very offensive and dangerous. We tried to leave the country which consider you the aggressor because we have passports of citizens of Belarus which helped Russia in the war. And it was doubly frustrating because you realized that this war is happening because of you didn't win the protest in 2020. So that is the hardest part of my story, so I don't want to stay here anymore. In March 2022, we finally come to Poland. We don't choose a Poland, we just run to the first country who can get us, and Poland was one of this country. Thank you for Polish government. They make 15 days free entrance to the Poland for everybody, because we, together with my wife, we didn't have visas for getting to Europe, and Poland get us to the country without any visas. Thanks. It looks like Poland will be our country of residence for the next few years, or maybe longer, who knows. And we have been living there for 1 year, and we are just only now starting to feel real life, without the constant escape from stupid governments and from bloody missiles and rockets. Today I continue to work in IT, not as a software engineer, but as a community and content creator. Together with Anywhere Club, we are trying to make a better place for people who want to get to IT, and we provide a lot of opportunity for that. We provide free trainings opportunity, free learnings opportunity, English language tests, resume evaluation, and a lot of contents in English, Ukrainian, and Russian language that we broadcasting through YouTube platform and a lot of audio platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and so on. Also, we have a community on Discord with over 3,000 members, and we do a lot of activities there related to programming, artificial intelligence, learning English, learning at all, and so on. My main responsibility today is to build communication around the Anywhere Club, create content related to IT, to AI, and find IT stars for our content and our community. But in my spare time, I still continue to programming for myself, mostly for small projects and a little bit for open source projects. You can find all of my comments in my GitHub. It is pretty easy to find my GitHub. Just put IT Beard in the search area and you find it. Last year, I also learned a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, started hosting a huge podcast together with my friend Viktor Shalenchenko, podcast about artificial intelligence in Russian language. The name of podcast is AI Podcast. Artificial Intelligence Anywhere podcast. If you understand Russian language, you can find us on any podcast platform. Even I started studying for data scientists major on Coursera. Yep. For now, I'm studying Python, and pretty soon I'm going to start learning data science, then machine learning and deep learning. And I suppose in 1 year perspective, I'll be pretty good engineer in AI sphere. I started to love programming, and also this year I fell in love with AI, let's say this way. What about my huge Russian language YouTube channel and what had changed? After the war started, I lost almost 100,000 subscribers. Some of them support Russia and don't want to hear my position inside my content position about the war. And my position is pretty clear: Ukrainian must be free and must win. A part of the audience simply got tired of war relation content and simply stopped watching the channel, because in every interview last year I touched on the topic of the war in one way or other. Now I'm getting back to my regular content on IT Boroda channel, but I feel like we have lost touch with a large part of my audience. Not most audience, but it was a really large part, maybe 30 or even 40% of audience now not aligned with my mind, and I feel like that is partially irrecoverable. Now the IT Boroda channel is my hobby, like it was in starting of my blogger career. All advertisement is gone, so now I'm not get a lot of money from this channel. Because I decided to give up all relations with partners from Russia and Belarus, and that was like 99% of the advertisement partners. But I think that my mental comfort is much more important to me than money. And after all, I have a job in IT, so I can live normally without blogger monetization. Thank you for my job. All of these changes finally allows me to find the time to launch my Belarusian language channel with interviews about science, about programming, and interesting profession of my people from Belarus, of Belarusian people. By the way, not everyone knows that the Belarusian language is very different from Russian, and if you want to listen it, you can visit my Belarusian language channel. It's named Темный лес on Belarusian language. On English, it's translated like Dark Destiny, because my people, Belarusian people, really have pretty dark destiny last a lot of 100 years. And also I realized that I need to build up my English-speaking audience, and also I need to level up my English-speaking skills, because now I live in like in Europe, almost in geographical center of Europe. By the way, Belarus is the geographical center of Europe, but it is not in Europe. Poland is Europe. I'm living here, and at work I make or participate in the production of a lot of English language-based content. So I need to level up my skills and I need to extend my English audience. A few months ago I started an English language Twitter, mostly writing about artificial intelligence and engineering. So if you want to read me on Twitter, just subscribe to my Twitter. A link will be in the description below. Maybe some of you get to this video from the Twitter. Thank you for subscribing. And finally, after months of preparation, I recorded this video. So it is small victory for me. Congratulations myself, let's say. I don't have like a big plans for this channel, but maybe sometime in the future together with my wife, we will start recording a family IT podcast. She also works in IT as a project manager, and she has much more better English speaking skills than me. So it is a win-win situation for me because I'm an interviewer. I made a lot of interviews, thousands of interviews, and on this podcast she will be talking and I will be asking questions. Pretty simple plan. And also, if you would like to hear something from me in the next talkative videos like this, feel free to say about this in the comment below. That seemed to be the end of my story about entering IT for now. I hope it has been useful to you, and the main point I want to make to you is to love what you do. It is very important to your success. And I hope that you see that I love my work and you also need to love what do you do. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you all of 10 people who watched this video, and thank you for your support and time. Feel free to subscribe to this channel, share this video, like this video, leave comments, subscribe to my Twitter, and see you in the next episode of IT Beard channel. Bye. By the way, I spent almost 3 hours for preparing script to this video, so I hope that it was not so bad. See you, bye.